there's a variety of different struggles, right? And then I thought about it because I'm very inquisitive. So I asked her the question. I said, "So you telling me the millions of African people that got murdered, that got brutalized, that the women that got raped, the oppression that has been instituted, all of these negative perspectives, you're telling me that this came about based on a vibration?" And she said yes. And then she explained herself. And she said the reason why so many people were able to die in the struggle of civil rights and black and white and fighting for the things that we knew we deserved or the things that they felt like we didn't deserve, it was all based on a vibration. And the lower you put your vibration, see, because if I create a pool for you, if I create an atmosphere for you that resembles, you could say, a jungle, right? So if I create an atmosphere for you where they're shooting, where you watching your people getting hung, they're constantly disrespecting your people, your women is getting disrespected, you getting separated from your family, I create a perspective in your mind that you're going through so much that your frequency that's supposed to be up here, like where the stars are at, starts to lower itself. And as it lower itself, it leaves room for bad things to happen, because the lower your frequency is the more inclined that you're possibly going to deal with something negative, because what you think is what your actual reality becomes. See, people think that the good things that come to them or the bad things that come to them are just like sometimes by luck, or they just happen to be so lucky that it was a coincidence that the person, but there is no coincidences in life. And this is why I like science, because science is, to me, it's like, it shows and it gives proof to the Supreme's being in existence. Because if you look at science, if you look at how this earth is created, if you look at how your body is created, and if you cannot see the divine, then you must need to work on your eyesight, because you can see our creator in everything. And it made a lot of sense having this conversation, because when I start thinking about how I want to abolish poverty and how I want to bring consciousness and love to millions of people that can connect and better their own lives by themselves, I think about a vibration. Now, in this journey of abolishing poverty and bringing joy and bringing a higher consciousness to the world, I know that I'm gonna have adversity. I know that people might threaten me. I know that people might not support me. I know that people might not buy my product, whether I'm selling t-shirts, whether I'm selling books. People might not like it. I know that I'm going to come across a lot of things that's going to test me on my journey. But one thing that I can assure you is that my frequency will only go up. I don't care what I'm dealing with, because for Martin Luther King, since this the day he got assassinated, he gave his life for equality, for people to come from a space of love where white and blacks and all different types of nationalities of people could come together. But 50 years later, after him being assassinated, man, to me personally, they kind of they evolved racism so bad where you don't even know that you're dealing with a disease until you die. And it's kind of like, it's like HIV without you knowing you have HIV. You can walk around regular and be good, but when it hits you, it's going to hit you and it's going to take you out immediately. That's how racism is now. It was kind of easier before because you was able to see it. Like, oh, whites only. Oh my God, look at the man. I just saw him yesterday. He's hanging on the street. Now, you got people that smile in your face. And then it's like diabolical systems set in place, like the public school system. You know where public school systems get their funding from? They get their funding from property tax. So if they get their funding from property tax, and the way the school system is set up, you can only go to the school within your district. And say, for example, schools within an area where there's not a lot of houses and there's only like buildings and low income housings. I could ask, what type of funding do you think the school is going to have? It's going to be low funding. So what type of education you think the kids is going to have? It's going to be low education. What type of teachers you think the kids is going to have? It's going to be low teachers. So what type of environment do you think these kids are going to be raised in? See, these systems are so tricky now is that you don't even see them, because on first eyes view, it's like, oh, whatever, this school could be better, but it's not. So you take that in. But if you really look at all the schools collectively that are giving kids not to par education and are not cultivating them where they could become entrepreneurs and really know how to combat in this world that's very different, you're gonna have a problem. See, the only thing that takes away fear is preparation. So if the media, if the society, and the people that we live in institute fear, and then you have the mass majority of people that's not prepared because they don't have the skills and the resources to get out and maneuver, what does that do? See, as a social worker in training, I understand the systems now. As a person that considers himself an empath, an indigo child, and a person that has always had an understanding of where I came from, I know how I could fix this. But see, you got to fix this, because I cannot help. Is the greatest form of oppression. And they never really tell you that, because when you think of help, you think it sounds nice. But if I always teach you, if I always give you the water, or if I always give you the food, or if I always give you the money, you'll never really know how to get it on your own. But see, if I take you and I teach you how to do that on your own, then you could become dependent upon self. So now let's look at some of these agencies. Let's look at some of these programs. Are they giving help? Are they giving help where the people are becoming dependent upon the help? Or are they giving resources where people could build and become dependent on themselves? Now I ask you, I tell you to answer that question. I'm not here to preach to you. I'm here to tell you that my vibration is high. What I do with my time is I give back to my community. I'm good to myself. I'm good to my family. I'm doing everything physically possible. I have a blog site. I'm working on a t-shirt line. When I get more finances, I'm going to start instituting different programs, like an after-school program, like camps, like workshops for cultural competence and financial literacy. See, I know how to get these kids out of poverty. Now, let's see how many people is willing to stand with me, and let's see how many people is going to fight against me, because I will never tell you nothing but the truth. I don't need to be saved for nobody. And you might not agree with this, but I pray on my 2 feet, because I think that our perspective is that you work your way up so one day you could walk with your creator. It's in the same perspective as, look at it like this, right? So we was created by God, and then we were created by God, and then we became human, right? So look at it as a human being. When you have kids, you raise your kids with the right characteristics and the right things needed to become the best human beings that they could be. You give them good education, you give them shelter, you give them advice, and you give them love. Now, when they get older, when your kid walks in to see you, do you tell your kid to get on their knees and pray to you because you are the one that had them? No, you treat your child with the respect as they become an adult. As they evolve their consciousness, you are able to have different type of conversation as parent versus child. So it's the same way with your creator. Right now, you might not be able to talk to your creator because you might not be there yet. But if you work, if you evolve your consciousness, and if you keep your vibration the same, you see, because you can only give back what you give off. There is no installment plans with success. And that's success for anything. Relationships, money, basketball, whatever you think it is, you got to pay it in full. If you want that success, you have to pay it in full. It's like an American Express. There's no installments. If you charge $20,000, you got to pay $20,000. So if you want $20 million, you want to be the man, you want to be able to take care of your family, what are you willing to give back to the universe? It has to be just as equivalent, or you can't get it back. See, your vibration got to match the two. So what you want and what you're willing to give got to be the same. And if it's not, you have a major problem. That's where poverty coming at. That's where ignorance coming at. That's where hate coming at. Because the lower that vibration, the more that there's a higher chance for something negative to happen to you. So this is going to be one of many installments. I'm going to work on my equipment where I could get recorded like in a better fashion, because right now I'm using the iPhone 6, but right now I just need to get the message out right now. I feel like maybe this, if the world was the Matrix, I feel like either I'm Neo or I'm Morpheus. I'm not sure yet, but I assure you that I'm going to do everything physically, mentally, and spiritually possible is to bring this world back together. And we got to do it through love, and then we got to do it through taking accountability for our own lives. You cannot be saved. You cannot be saved. I say that again. You cannot be saved. And that's by anybody. I'm not telling you no names about who can save you. What I'm saying is that when you die, you got to answer for what you do. And if you want to go to heaven up here, then you got to create heaven down here. And that's the only way it's going to be. There's no books. There's no prophets. There's nobody that's going to be able to save you. You got to save yourself. That means you got to come from a space of love. You got to be good to people. You got to do good because you're good and not because you want good. And I assure you, if you keep your vibration high, if you keep control over your consciousness, if you believe in yourself like you believe in all the other stuff that you choose to believe in, you will be successful. So this is my message. So when you ask yourself, what is cool for life? Cool for life is a higher consciousness. It's a way of life. It's a lifestyle. It represents the people, whether men, women, whether child, whether adult, whether animal, whether God, whether anything. If you want to change the world, then you could be cool for life. I thank you, and I see you soon. One more thing. Shout out to my man Martin Luther King.